Welcome back, Beans Army, to another episode of the Less is More Sports podcast. If you've tuned into the channel for a while, you've been accustomed to know that after we do our coveted cap or no cap episode, we like to do a draft afterwards. And since our most previous episode was the college basketball cap or no cap, today Ryan and I are going to draft some of the best current and all time players in college basketball history. But if you've also been tuning into the channel for a while, you've come to know that every draft involves a little bit of a twist. So, real quick, we're going to lay down the rules of how this draft is going to play out. For me and Ryan's both first pick, I have a deck of cards right here. As you can probably see, that's got Jaden Ivey on the front of it right there. That includes some all time great college basketball players. For our first pick, I'm going to shuffle the deck, make this as random as I possibly can, and whichever card is drawn is going to be our first pick. If you play Madden or 2K and you go on my team, this is kind of equivalent to like your starter card. And then after the starter card is picked, for the rest of our starting lineup, it has to consist of current college basketball players. Once we complete our starting lineups, we move on to our bench where we have three bench players. They have to be players that are no longer playing college basketball, or as some of you will like to refer to them as all time great players. The only catch with your bench is that you cannot pick a player from any of the schools that are involved in your starting lineup. For example, say if I pick Cooper Flagg in my starting lineup, I now cannot use any all time Duke great on my bench. And then to round it out, we will pick our coach. And this can be current or all time, and there are no limitations to this. So, for example, if I, like I said, I pick Cooper Flagg in my starting lineup, I can pick Coach K for my coach. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Ryan, you're going to have the first pick. I'm going to shuffle the deck real quick and see who you got.
All right, big money, big money. Who
Big
are we
money.
gonna?
And with the first pick, Ryan officially has Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga.
All right,
Not not a bad start.
um, I'm gonna put him at my power forward.
At your power forward? Okay. So
Big,
Ryan's first pick for
big,
his
big,
starter card is Chet Holmgren from
who weighs
Gonzaga.
95 pounds.
I think you might weigh more than Chet Holmgren, low key.
I mean, we got same size ankles and wrists, but he's a bucket though. He can get it done, and I'm
He's
excited for his Thunder season.
Nah, me and your dad actually talked a lot about Chet Holmgren and the at work, and he would always say, I think he worded it so perfectly. He can start and stop a fast break, and he can hit step back threes at 7'1". He's going to be playing for a long time. So without
Yeah,
further ado,
yeah.
this goes into my starter card pick. So I'm going to shuffle the deck real quick.
Who will less get?
Watch, if I get somebody really good, everybody's going to think I rigged this. I mean, you could argue I rigged it, but we'll see.
Nobody can see the cards. I don't know. I'm fine with Chet though.
Oh yeah, people gonna think I rigged it because I got Steph Curry from Davidson, and
Oh, that is just not fair. But we're gonna work around it. All right. We're woo. All right.
here's
Uh,
no here's where I think people are gonna think I rigged it because we're gonna do a snake draft. So obviously, since I picked last in this round, I'm gonna pick first in this round. Um, so I think it goes without further ado who everybody knows I'm gonna pick with my first pick in the current pick. I had to get you back for taking Ashton Genty from me in that last draft.
I had a perfect script of what I was gonna say.
So I think it goes without saying that with my first pick of my current players, rounding out my power forward spot, I'm going to go with the guy that I have talked about ad nauseum on this podcast, Mr. Cooper Flagg, the main event himself, as my first current player.
Actually, I had him at small forward. I think he could play like all five positions. So
I mean, if he really wanted to, he could play all five. But for
yeah,
my lineup, I'm putting him as my power forward.
yeah. If I had the first pick, I was gonna say um this guy really is not talked about that much. But I'm gonna go Cooper Flag. That's what I would have said, just because it's funny, and that is the opposite of what actually happens.
Well, I think it is time for you to pick your first current player.
Um. Okay, so I got Chet as my power forward, which I like a
Okay,
lot. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with my point guard, and I'm gonna go a kind of veteran. I'm gonna go Mark Sears from Alabama. I mean,
that's a solid pick. That is a
uh,
solid pick.
in the tournament, he was an absolute baller. He averaged 21.5 points during the season. He's kind of just he manages the game however he wants the game to go. I mean, he's an absolute bucket. He's if you need points, it's Mark Sears. So I'm gonna go with Mark Sears from Alabama as my point guard.
As your point guard, I dig it. No, you got a solid team so far. Chet Holmgren and Mark Sears, not too shabby, not too shabby. I might shock our listeners' fan base given my allegiances with this pick, but this is a guard that I've been high on for a while. I just absolutely hate the team he plays on. And I'm going to round out my guards. Yep, I'm going to round out my guards and go with RJ Davis for North Carolina. I was always higher on him than I was Caleb Love. I mean, dude can just do it all at the guard position. I mean, and he gives us Duke problems every time we play. And I mean, of course, he gives a lot of people problems. He's the reigning ACC Player of the Year, so I think that goes without saying. But yeah, so I'm rounding out my guards. I have Steph Curry from Davidson with my starter card, RJ Davis, and of course, I got Cooper Flag at the power forward spot. I'm liking my squad so far.
Um, let's see. I'm gonna go with my shooting guard. I'm gonna
Okay.
go Wade Taylor the fourth. I mean,
Ooh.
this guy, he played Ohio State last year. I didn't really watch Texas A&M a lot of the rest of the season, but he is an
Hmm.
absolute bucket getter. I mean, um, he averaged 19.1 points. He's just he can do everything for a guard. I mean, he just scores points whenever you need him. Absolute bucket. Wade Taylor the fourth from Texas A&M as my shooting guard.
Now, I'm gonna have to take a second to decide my pick, and I'm gonna take my sweet time with this one. Um, because I don't know if I want to go because I have my two spots left. I have small forward and I have my center. And I would say I can't. I mean, I have shooting galore with Steph and RJ. I mean, I don't know if I want to add to the shooting or add to the defense with Cooper Flag.
We
You
might
know what?
fly. We might fly through this.
We might, but I mean, I think that'll be enjoyable because then it'll give you and me more time at the end to talk about these great slate of college football games we got today. Because
Very
yeah,
true.
your Buckeyes got a big one today as well. I
I know
know you,
it'll be tough. It'll be tough. Kirk Herbstreit had to leave College Game Day because he's going to do the Texas game.
of course, and that's going to be a good game too. Well, actually, no, I don't. I think that will be a good game to start, and then I think Texas is going to pull away. Oh, why am I saying this early, man? We could talk about this at the end. We have a
Yeah, yeah.
draft.
Save it all for later. Save it all
Save
for
it
later.
all for the end. Let's do it. So I'm going to go with my center. And I think a lot of people are gonna think I'm gonna pick Hunter Dickinson with this, but like I like my centers to defend a certain way, and Hunter Dickinson is not it. Like if you get him in the pick and rolls, dude is cooked. And one of my hot takes for the college basketball season is that for Kansas to reach their potential, Hunter Dickinson is going to have to come up off the bench, and we're going to have to start
Flory.
Flory Badunga. And I would like to go with Badunga here, but I also want a little bit of experience too. So I'm going to go with Omar Balou from Indiana.
I thought
Not
about
a
him.
Yeah, not I don't feel like not a bad pick either.
Thought about him, but decided not to for a certain reason. Um. All right. So I got Mark Sears. I got Wade Taylor. Uh. I need small forward and then center, and
Hmm.
I have Chet as my power forward. I'm gonna go with small forward. I'm actually gonna move this guy on my list. I'm gonna go with AJ Store from Kansas. He's he's I would like to say he's a great scorer no matter what team he's on. Four different high schools, three different colleges. I think it was three different colleges. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Um, a great scorer, whatever team he's on. Now he's on Kansas. 16.8 points a game, and he's just he can do everything. He can go downhill, um, dunk the ball. He can shoot the ball. Anything. AJ Store. He can be a guard or small forward. I'm gonna put him at small forward. So AJ Store from Kansas.
Now that leaves my small forward, and I am deciding because there's so many good options I could go with at small forward. Um, I like someone who is, long and athletic and can cut to the rim. Um, oh shit, why the hell did I not do that? I completely blanked on my center. I should have gone with Ryan Kalkbrenner. I'm an idiot. Oh well. Live and learn, I guess. Um, Small forward is gonna be a little tough because I have plenty of shooting. Um, could like to
Okay.
add to the defense a little bit. I'm gonna go. I think I don't need a guy who needs the ball in his hands a lot. I need somebody who's kind of like a glue guy. And this guy is at his best when he's in that glue guy role. And I already picked one player from one of my favorite teams, so I guess I got to go with another guy with my Longhorns, and I'm going to go with Arthur Kaluma as rounding out my small forward glue guy. So to round out my starting lineup, I have Steph Curry from Davidson as from my starter card. I have R.J. Davis from UNC. I have Arthur Kaluma from Texas, power forward. Of course, I got the main event Cooper Flag himself. And then at center, I totally whiffed on this pick. I'm not even gonna lie. I should have gone with Ryan Kalkbrenner, but I went Omar Baloo from IU. Still not a horrible take, but Kalkbrenner's a three-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year. He's like and is elite at guarding pick and rolls out of the center spot, which is like perfect what I look for in my center. So live and learn, I guess. So Ryan, you now are picking your center. Who are you gonna take?
With my center, and it's gonna be a guy that you probably think I would never take, just because it's probably not what you're thinking about. And this guy has not proved anything. He's not done anything. Freshman, okay, freshman coming in.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go with the Giants. Olivier Rue from
Oh,
Florida, 7'9", 305 pounds. I mean, he could if he keeps working, keeps balling, and he's not too slow. He could be an absolute unit down in the front court. Um, yeah, Olivier Rue, 7'9", 305 pounds from Florida, from IMG. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, he played IMG.
So, I mean, what there's not many times where there's been a guy taller than 7'9". I haven't really seen much just because he's a freshman now and he hasn't he hasn't played a single second in college basketball. But I'm excited to see if he's a unit, and he's gonna be on my team as my center.
I feel like he could be a complete unit for about 5 minutes a game.
Yeah, yeah. He's gonna. Yeah, we'll see. If it doesn't work out, I'll just put in my bench player.
Fair enough. All right, I guess this moves to our three bench guys. Because, I mean, most good college teams, they only really play about eight deep come tournament time. So I feel like it's only appropriate we could do this. But for my first bench guy, my backcourt is already lethal, but it just got a whole lot scarier because with my first bench, of course, we're going with the all time players. And what better all-time player to go with? And of course, I can't use anybody from Davidson, UNC, Texas, Duke, or IU in my bench. And I don't think I picked LSU in that starting lineup. So I have to go with the all-time leading scorer in college basketball history. And I'm going to go Pete Maravich. Pistol Pete himself.
Pistol Pete. I'm just looking over and making sure that I got none of the same schools. Okay, that I believe it's my turn, and with my first bench all-time player, I'm gonna go with the guy nicknamed Zeke, Isaiah Thomas from Indiana University. My This is my dad's favorite player of all time.
I was going to say, I feel like this was Allen talking with this one.
He's a Pistons fan. Probably not now, but
I
he
mean,
still is. He's cheering on the Tigers though.
no, I see it. I see he's cheering on the Tigers on Facebook for sure.
he is a Pistons fan. It's just not the brightest moment right now, and
Hmm.
maybe Detroit sports will rise to the top. And it'll take the Pistons for a long time, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Isaiah Thomas, one of the best ever, one of the best defensive players ever. My father doesn't get happy when people say that Chris Paul is better than
No,
Chris Paul better than.
look, I grew up in like prime Chris Paul era, and like, no, he was not better than Zeke. You and me and your dad have always agreed on that. Like I like Chris Paul. I mean, I remember I grew up during when Chris Paul was playing at Wake Forest and he was torching my Blue Devils, but that's how far back my lineage goes. But no, as far as an NBA career, I feel like when he first like really broke out for the Hornets, I feel like there was a conversation that he could one day be better than Isaiah Thomas, but he never got to that point. Isaiah Thomas definitely has a better career, better resume than Chris Paul does. So
And I do want to say this is, if you missed it, this is not the Washington Isaiah Thomas. This is the Indiana one, the one of the
this
best.
is Zeke. Yeah, this is
Yep.
Zeke. This is the all-time great point guard here.
Yep. Coached by Bob Knight. So yeah, that is my first bench player.
I wonder how many times Bob Knight threw a chair at Isaiah in practice.
We will never know. It was
We will never know. He's
like
he's
Flight
not
would say.
not like he can tell us.
Like Flight would say, the cameras weren't on.
That's true. I think it's time to pick my second bench player, and of course, I went with the all-time leading scorer. Now I think I have to go with arguably the greatest college player of all time. Went on to be one of the greatest NBA players of all time. Uh, Surprisingly, did not win. Is not one of the three players to win three Naismith Trophy Award for Player of the Year, which is wild. But obviously one of the more highly touted players of all time, even dating back to the high school level. Um, All-time great NBA player, all-time great college basketball player, and I'm going to go with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at UCLA.
So who would be your front court?
My front court, well, my starter.
Including bench players.
Oh, my front court, like with everybody. I mean, my front court's, I guess, Cooper Flag, Ballo, and then Kareem off the bench. Just given how the draft is going, just given how the draft is laid out.
All right.
Obviously, like in crunch time, I'm swapping Baloo for Maravich in that scenario.
Yeah.
Just like in crunch time, I'm swap. Sorry, RJ. Actually, sorry, not sorry. I'm taking him out, plugging Pistol Pete in, and I feel like I could just. I mean, just given the lineups, who would play the one or the two between Steph and Pete, Pistol Pete. So
Pistol Pete. Okay, with my second bench all time player, I'm gonna go. Uh, I'm gonna go with a guy that went to the same college as Pete, Shaq, Shaquille O'Neal, backup. This is crazy to say, but I guess
right.
backup center to Olivier Roux. He can go in whenever Olivier is tired, or I can mix around the lineup and start him.
I have a feeling
Olivier
Shaq is
Roux.
going to be with that lineup. Shaq will be playing more minutes than Olivier Roux.
We will we will have to see. Uh, but yeah, Shaq, one of the best ever, most powerful, most dominant center of all time. Um, he was not as he was, I would say, slimmer at LSU, but he was still a force down low. I'm gonna go with Shaquille O'Neal from LSU.
That's a solid pick. And now I feel like I got a guard reserve. I got a center reserve. Now I think I need a wing reserve. And I got to go with one of the best athletes to ever play college basketball at my wing spot. One of the greatest ACC players of all time. And for you casuals at home, I obviously can't be going with Michael Jordan because I have RJ Davis in my starting lineup. But I do not have an NC State Wolfpack in my starting lineup, so I'm going to go with David Thompson from NC State.
Well, with my last bench player, I'm gonna go with Michael Jordan. because why not? One of
Why not?
the goat and
Debatable.
um and okay. Besides, uh, actually, to be honest, this is just me. I actually grew up watching, or this is not a surprise. I grew up watching LeBron, so he's probably my favorite player ever. But I don't like doing the GOAT conversation just because I don't care enough. But besides I was besides Armando Baycott, he's probably the best ever. Uh
That was a random ass player to throw in there,
no,
especially in like North Carolina history.
I was just trying to think of a kind of a goofy player that would kind of get your attention if I said that.
Oh,
But
you
yeah,
could
I'm
have
gonna
gone with
go.
Theo. If you could have gone with Theo Pinson, if we're going like North Carolina lore of like guys that North Carolina fans thought was going to be so good and like just turned out to be an average player.
Yeah, or Tyler Hansbrough, one of them.
He's North Carolina's all time leading scorer. So
Yeah, not a player that they thought was gonna be good and wasn't. He was, but yeah, I'm gonna go MJ. Dean Smith said whoever can keep MJ under 20 points is legendary. So one of the best ever, probably the best, whatever. I'm gonna go with Michael Jordan,
that rounds out our players. So
Jimmy
now
Butler's father.
Jimmy Butler's father. Jimmy Butler has not beaten the allegations yet. Just to be clear there.
It's all up
Now
in
I
the
think
air.
it wraps up our coach and to our coach pick, and I think everyone knows who I'm going to pick here. The Duke fan on the podcast, so obviously I'm going to go with Coach K, the real goat of college basketball himself, Mike Krzyzewski.
Um, with my coach pick, I figured that you were not gonna pick him, so I didn't have a backup. I could have just thought about Kenny Payne's my backup. I'm gonna go with Coach Ricky P. I'm gonna go with Rick Pitino. I don't care about all the Kentucky stuff going to the big blue madness, whatever. Last night, I don't care about that. He can do whatever he wants.
What school should I put Rick Pitino under for your all-time list?
Iona.
For real?
No, it doesn't matter. You choose. Well, I mean, he was my favorite coach at Louisville. We did win the national championship. There's video evidence.
It's
But
not there's
it's
no record of it though.
it's really up to you, whatever college you want to put him as, because he's like AJ Store, you know.
I'm gonna put him at Kentucky because that's where his best teams was Kentucky.
Okay,
That 1996 Kentucky team is still considered one of, if not the best college basketball team of all time, and he was the head coach. So I'll
that's
go
fair.
that. Plus, I did you dirty making you take the starter card first, so I could swoop in and take Cooper Flag with my first pick. I had to get
And
you back for
Steph
taking
Curry.
I had to get you back for taking Ashton Genty in our last draft. So
I know. I was really. I have Cooper Flag on my paper. I wanted him, but
well,
the
I can't blame you. Who wouldn't
the,
want Cooper
the
Flag?
Glazer himself already took him. So I got.
Rumor has it that UConn fans are still salty that Cooper Flag is not a Husky.
They probably are. And do you all play in this year? Is it like?
No,
Is it wasn't there a thing where you all were gonna play each other?
no. There was talk that John Shire was trying to set up a home and home for
Oh, okay.
UConn and
That's what I
Duke,
heard.
but Danny Hurley's ducking us. He don't want to come to Cameron. I'm sure he'd be all about us going to UConn, but he don't want to come to Cameron. He's scared.
He might be, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Rick Pitino. He's my favorite coach of all time because he brought the happiness to Louisville, and hopefully Pat Kelsey can do the same thing.
I can make
He
so
has
many
the
puns.
energy.
I can make so many puns when you said he brought the happiness to Louisville. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Well, there's none. There's none. Okay. The happiest thing that we've seen is the 2013 banner that's on the building across from the KFC Yum Center. Okay, whenever we walk out of the KFC Yum Center, that's when we get happy. All right. I don't know if someone like just copy and pasted that, or that could be the real thing. Who knows?
Is that like equivalent to like UCF hanging their own national championship banner?
See, UCF did not win anything. All right, the only thing that they did was absolutely hit stick Joe Burrow, and then Joe Burrow turned into one of the greatest quarterbacks in college football history.
Well, they didn't do anything
We
except go on.
actually won it. All right, I can find a video where we won. I mean, everyone knows that Luke Hancock hit 4 straight threes to bring us back into the game, and
Oh, I'm really glad you brought
it
up
was
Luke Hancock because I have to tell you this story. I tell all my Louisville fan friends this story. I was getting lunch at Qdoba one night, and of course, out or one day. I don't know why I said night. I guess that's completely irrelevant to the story. Feel like that Ant-Man moment, but um, I was wearing a Duke shirt, and this Louisville fan comes up to me, and he starts talking to me. Of course, all the normal stuff, like oh boo Duke, all the stuff I'm used to. And then he goes, all jokes aside, I don't think Duke ever had a shooter like Luke Hancock. And when I tell you the look that I absolutely gave this man, I literally looked at him and said, I want you to pick a year, and I could give you at least one that was better than Luke Hancock. I mean, it's like JJ Redick never existed, or Luke Kennard never existed. Bobby Hurley never existed.
who?
I mean, who?
I'm just
What
kidding.
the hell? Yeah, man, I'm gonna smack you for that. You're lucky we're on Zoom right now.
Luke Hancock.
So that became like a running joke with some of my friends that Luke Hancock just went on to be like this lore of the greatest basketball player of all time.
I've actually met him.
Oh, I have too. I've actually played basketball against Luke Hancock.
Did you cook him?
What do you think?
Oh, I
No.
saw that shooting video. I mean, I saw that shooting video of you. So
I mean, I appreciate the confidence, but Luke Hancock was shooting like that with people on him. A
yeah,
little
I know.
different.
I know. He's different. He's
Yeah,
different.
no,
And
but
now he's on what is it called? ACC.
hmm
What's
he's
the
on he's on ACC Network.
well? Yeah, ACC network. I didn't know if there was a certain name for
Oh
it.
yeah, there is. I just can't think of it right now. But yeah, he works for ACC Network. That's all we need to know. But
Yeah.
no, but how I played against Luke Hancock, I signed up this league that was at the Cyril Algar Center. I don't know for anybody who's a Louisville native, it's a community center that's behind the Kroger off Poplar Level Road. And I was just trying to get back into like playing shape because I had was just coming off of a work accident at FedEx, and I was just trying to get back into playing again. And they said the competition was decent. Wow, we really flew through this episode. Already 10 minutes left. They said the competition was decent, but literally we walk in for our first game and Luke Hancock's on the other team. And so my buddy looked at me and he said, "You said the competition was decent, not Final Four MOP good." And what was crazy is like we another team in that league was filled with players that like played professionally overseas too. So I mean, yeah, I'd say that competition was more than a little decent.
Someone was like being easy on the competition. Whoever said it was decent.
Yeah, somebody was really downplayed that stuff. But the team that had a bunch because Luke Hancock apparently Luke only played that game because apparently
Oh.
they needed a sub because one of their guys like couldn't make that game. So they're like, yeah, we're gonna sub in Luke Hancock. Little ringer pick right there going on, but
Yeah, nobody knows who he is. Like,
yeah,
uh,
nobody around Louisville especially knows who he is.
yeah. Who's your sub? Luke Hancock. Yeah,
What I don't know what you mean he's a basketball player. At that time he was like in real estate. So it's like he's a real estate agent. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah. Doesn't ring a bell to me. So
Yeah,
whatever.
I'm a Indiana fan. I don't know anything about a Luke Hancock.
Yeah, we all we know is Tom Cream. That's it.
Well, that officially wraps up our draft. So I'm going to go through it. I'm going to go through it one more time. My team for my point guard with the starter card, I drew Steph Curry out of Davidson. Shooting guard, I have RJ Davis out of UNC. Small forward, Arthur Kaluma from Texas. Power forward, Cooper Flag from Duke. And center, Omar Balou from Indiana. Bench, I have Pistol Pete Maravich from LSU. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar from UCLA. David Thompson from NC State. And of course, Coach K, the GOAT, Mike Krzyzewski from Duke. Ryan, his starters are point guard Mark Sears from Alabama, shooting guard Wade Taylor IV from Texas A&M, small forward AJ Storr from Kansas, power forward with his starter card he drew Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga, center Oliver Rowe. I do not know how to pronounce his last
Yeah, I
name.
think it's yeah. It's like
It's
Rue.
Rowe,
Like
Rowe, Someone tell us in the comments how it's pronounced.
It's the same thing as like when people would say "Go Tigers," but it like LSU, but it was like IOUX. It's
Oh
go.
yeah, like
Yeah.
the Cajun spelling. Got you.
Mhm.
From Florida, in his bench, he got Isaiah Zeke Thomas from IU, Daddy Shack. I don't even know why I said that. Of all the nicknames I could have
Hey
called him,
yo!
I was trying to say I was stuck between like Diesel and something else, and then somehow Daddy Shack came out. I don't know, but either
It's
way,
Daddy
Shaquille
Shaq
O'Neal from
Diesel.
LSU, and then Jumpman Michael Jordan for UNC, and he is coached by Ricky P, Rick Pitino, and we're gonna go with Kentucky because he had the better teams at Kentucky. So that officially concludes our draft. And with about 6 minutes to go, we have a big slate of college football games going on today. So we're gonna talk about some game predictions for the rest of our Saturday. And of course, we're gonna start with Ryan because his Buckeyes have a huge matchup with now Big Ten foe Oregon. So Ryan, what are your thoughts on that game?
I'm very excited, very nervous. I think we have to establish the run. Obviously, Chip Kelly is coming back to Oregon where he previously coached. We just we have to limit turnovers. We need no turnovers. We need to be able to run the ball, and we need to keep the crowd quiet. I've heard rumors about how many Ohio State fans are going, and it is a lot. We are wearing these kind of alternate jerseys where instead of the gray pants, it's the white pants. So
Ooh,
it's kind of icy, but we just have to be able to run the ball with our very good running backs, and Will Howard just has to just have no turnovers, kind of limit the mistakes, and I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about this game. Obviously, I'm picking Ohio State because it's my favorite team, um, but yeah, I'm very excited, very nervous. Autzen Stadium's a very, very hard place to play, I would say, and let's welcome Oregon to the Big Ten and see how they do.
fair enough.
What
And of
about
course,
you in
of course,
the Texas game?
yeah, of course, my Longhorns got a big game, the Red River rivalry against Oklahoma, and they are currently. Did it just go up? Because before I got on here,
It
it
was
was like
14
40.
last time I saw.
Well, on the score right now, it's 17 right now that we're favored.
Oh my goodness. What uh Michael Hawkins or whatever his name is can't play?
Yeah, that's so. I think Texas is going to win. For Texas to be able to win pretty handedly, I think if we can keep Michael Hawkins in the pocket and make him beat us with his arm, Texas's secondary is vastly improved from last year. They're now one of the best secondaries in the country, as most of our units are slowly becoming some of the best in the country, which is kind of insane to think about. But I saw this coming when Sarkisian was hired all them years ago. I say all them years ago like it wasn't like 3, 4 years ago. But anyways, um, no, I think if you watch the Tennessee Oklahoma game, I think Texas plays very similarly to Tennessee. We can
You almost said UT. I heard that. You almost said
uh,
yeah.
no, I mean, well, technically we are the real UT, so I mean. But
I
anyways, I think we have the weapons to spread them out on the outside to kind of like to get past that great Oklahoma defense. If the thing, our biggest thing is if there it has been any weakness on this Texas team, it's been slowing down the run. So if we can keep Michael Hawkins in the pocket, slow the run down, I think this could get ugly really fast for Oklahoma. But yeah, obviously I'm picking my Longhorns to win. So obviously, no surprise. Ryan's going with his Buckeyes. I'm going with my Longhorns. Another big game here that I don't think is getting talked about enough is
do.
Ole Miss and LSU.
Mhm. I do want to say that I don't know if did you mention that Quinn is coming back from injury.
Yes, Quinn will be the QB1 this week. Yes, the
Hmm.
Arch Manning run was nice, but it is officially time for the real QB1 to step in and lead us to the promised land.
Quinn. But yeah,
Quinn
Ole
Shiesty.
Miss LSU today. Is that a 7:30? Yeah, that's a
Yeah, the
7:30.
7:30 game.
I don't know how to feel about that one. When I watched Ole Miss past couple weeks, I really wasn't um like I wasn't really impressed that much. I know
Hmm.
how good their offense can be, and Trey Harris has some stupid stats. I mean, it crazy stats. I don't know. It's at LSU. That's one of the toughest places to play in the country with what they do and how loud it is. I've actually been there. I went to um LSU, Texas A&M, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, uh, Justin Jefferson. That was really fun. I got picture proof. Don't think I'm lying. But yeah, it's one. It was very very loud. We were sitting up high, but I don't know. Who do you think?
I'm thinking Ole Miss is going to win that one because I really don't trust LSU's defense. I mean, I know,
Harold Perkins out.
yeah, especially with him out.
Yeah, I did forget about LSU's defense. I'm also going to go with Ole Miss. I think their offense will do really well today, and their defensive line is really, really good with transfers that they got and veteran players.
Another key game, Colorado kind of on a little bit of a hot streak going up against Kansas State. Kansas State is favored by 3.5. Who you got in that game for the 10-15 matchup?
I'm gonna I'm gonna go with Kansas State with Avery Johnson and all that they can do. I think he will throw the ball well. I know he didn't do well against BYU at all, but I'm gonna go with them. I think they do really well against the not great Colorado defense. I think it'll be a high scoring game. I don't know about -3. We'll see, but I think if they win, they got to win by 3 or more. I don't think it'll be like a 1 point game at all. So I'm gonna go with Kansas State and Avery Johnson and Will Howard's former team.
I like Avery Johnson. He's actually one of my favorite quarterbacks in college football, but I think Colorado has found something, and I'm going to go with the Buffs, I believe. Before we run out of time, as always, like and subscribe to Less is More Sports. Be sure to follow the YouTube and Spotify pages, and also follow us on social media. That's at Less is More Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Threads. Also follow the side quests on TikTok. That's at Beansdad018. And now that I got that out of the way, is there any other games we want to give a quick prediction to? I feel
After
like
this, after this, I'm gonna go watch College Game Day. I'm gonna see who they picking, and then honestly, at 12, there's not many great games, so I gotta wait.
yeah, we got to wait till 3:30.
Mm-hmm.
That's depressing.
Yeah, I'm gonna cry. But
I was
yeah,
waiting for you to be cut off by the
Louisville,
timer.
Louisville or Virginia. I got Louisville bounce back. We look